I did not open up laptop for April. You okay?
Son of a, yeah, if I can just get an agenda, really, all right.
Okay.
Hey, thank you. My pleasure.
There's some present.
And Ben didn't get out. Yeah, yes, I am. I got my stuff, so. Finally,
I sure enjoy my, what is it, $53, 47. Meal every month.
well, if you live in Seattle, it'd be $7.50.
Yeah.
Like most of the state, it's $7.50. So the basic charge, the connection fee. You gotta pay that whether you use any electricity or not. Here it's $47 a month. And in the state it's $7.50.
We had Dave McKenzie in here yesterday because this solar thing. If I was in that you're using the road twice, you should be paying twice the basic connection.
Twice the connection fee. They should be paying us twice.
Well, we're getting real close to having off-grid capability. Just generic. Batteries are almost good enough to do that. They are in sunnier locations.
With that, can you still charge a car?
You can do anything the grid can do.
What we were talking about yesterday, this mandated clean energy. By a certain year. And, yeah. We can't get transformers now. Transformers we do. So of course we're gonna restart.
John,
ours.
correct.
We
Yeah, you're
really
right
don't know
here.
what we're
I'll give you my chair.
gonna do with the old ones because they have PCBs in them. So disposing of them is difficult.
Torn.
He passes over there.
Did you read the article in the paper about the Cascade Rockport and their power and all that stuff?
Yeah, the one that was in the paper the
Yeah,
other day.
that's good.
You know, they just recall everybody as soon as they don't like something.
Well, I mean, you had to read the whole thing about like they're trying to get that data center, but they don't have enough power for the people that live there.
Right.
That's,
There was-
that's only part of it.
That was, that
Right,
was
right.
much of the person
Seemed
who was
Castle
heading that up was a notorious shyster.
Familiar.
I guess. I can neither confirm nor deny his shadiness, but those were the rumors. We do.
I mean, it's too shady, but rumors are,
I can come up with some more rumors.
I can start some if you want.
I love it.
Fine.
I love it.
I was telling Dave that I'm forced to use my work computer and the crypto security. You jump through so many hoops.
Yeah.
To get to any.
Well, my son broke the keyboard on my tablet, not intentionally, he was using it and it's not working. And so my options either get another tablet, order a replacement keyboard or whatever, or just not worry about it.
Laptop or tablet?
It's a tab. It's a laptop replacement. It's a touchscreen tablet, but it's the size of a laptop. And it came with a cool keyboard. Keyboard just isn't working.
Would you also like a copy of the agenda then?
I mean, I've got my phone, it's all right, and I read it,
Okay.
so. I won't keep it back today. I did, however, after work, forget that we're having a meeting, which is great. I worked late and I got done and I was like, oh, so I just like sat down and then also my alarm goes ding, 10 minutes. I was like, are you kidding? But it's all good.
I modified the reminders on my Google Calendar. So I get
I need to get-
out, 2 days out, hour out. So I myself in the Dallas going, "Ooh, Stevenson, go now."
That's a great idea. I really should have set mine at least for like 30 minutes, but I on Thursdays, I always know what it is. It's just this one. Yeah, it's fine.
I was reminded this time last week, don't forget, in a week.
Yeah, Tuesday was the-
Oh, yeah, I saw Ben a few days ago and I said, see you Tuesday. And he's like, what's Tuesday? Day after Monday.
All right, go ahead and call the meeting to order at 6 o'clock. Thank you all very much for coming on this random day. I would invite you to join me in pledge of allegiance. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Do any of you have any public comments?
Got nothing.
Have a crowd today.
There, did have some changes moving along. I would entertain a motion to approve the consent agenda.
Motion to approve the consent agenda. is presented.
Second. First and second. Any discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Ben is still not voting.
Weird how that works.
No sheriff's report.
Yeah.
Well, it's
he's
included.
In train, well, it's included, Tracy was in training and wasn't able to make it today.
Okay. All right, Lana, take us away on the budget amendment.
So again, most of it remains the same. One minor change I did include was $25,000 for the First Street Fund. We received that grant. We're working on getting additional funding. And so I put that in there to at least let us get moving on that project. So we don't have to do another, but we may need to do another budget amendment by the end of the year, but it's not necessary. And then also moving project costs from the Park Plaza. Currently it's in the Tourism Advisory Fund, moving that down to its own separate fund. Because again, we received $150,000 from Department of Commerce, which we'll use that money first before we use TAC funding. Or if there's anything that we're moving forward with that wouldn't be covered by that commerce loan.
Is that what you have? All right.
That's the only change. Yep.
So I'd like to make a motion to approve ordinance 2023-1195, amending the 2023 budget as presented, period.
Second.
It's not a competition. First and a second. Fair point. First and a second, any discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
The lease for the downtown association that you approved at the last meeting was slightly revised to reflect that they're renting the back lot instead of the interior of the building. And then we also added some requirements such as locking the gate and things of that nature. So just some minor changes. I believe the tracked version was
There's
in the
red
packet.
lines and yeah.
So
Oh, how
You
about
go.
this? I'd like to make a motion to approve the revised lease agreement with Stevenson Downtown Association as presented, period.
Second. We have a first and, oh, I see what's going on here. I have a first and a second. Any discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Donna?
So again, Rob Ferris presented this as far as the agreement goes. It's for dispatch services and it's a continuation of the previous agreement. The dollar amount was changed to reflect the revised rates, but. Got it.
I have a feeling this meeting will be finished before I get my agenda open.
Make a motion to approve the interlocal agreement for dispatch services as presented.
Second.
First and a second, any discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
So construction code, it was brought to our attention that our code states 110 miles per hour at 3-second gusts. Where the county, North Bonneville, all state 135, and the county is doing our building code inspections. And so that's the direction they're providing our contractors. And so this is to get all on the same page because the wind doesn't change much between our borders.
Go ahead. Yeah, no, all I've got is a consent
page.
agenda. A motion to approve the ordinance 2023-1196, amending the chapter 15.01 the construction code section, thank you, for, section 15.01.030, general requirements, all codes as presented. And that's it.
Second,
First and second, any discussion? Well, I guess you have the right to go right into it. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Did you all have a chance to read the proposed changes to the noise ordinance to address
Mhm.
some recent construction complaints?
Mhm.
Do you feel that it is a good first step to address these?
I think so.
I
Motion
talked-
away.
I talked, can I just say something real
Sure,
quick?
go
I
for it.
talked to them that, I mean, I talked to Chin and Deer and they said nobody's doing construction at 7. Was there anybody doing construction up there?
There was somebody moving dirt after 7.
Yeah, I think it was after.
Well, that's construction, right?
Well, the contention was that it was somebody that had finished shift and was helping themselves to free dirt as they were given permission.
Oh.
That's still heavy equipment making.
Agreed,
evening
yeah,
noises.
okay,
But the whole thing about can't start before 7, must be done by 7, no Sundays, no holidays.
right,
Come on, huh?
of course, yeah,
It's the right thing to do.
common sense.
All right, ready, sir?
Bated breath.
Oh, boy. All right, I'd like to make a motion to approve ordinance amending chapter 8.08 noise control as presented.
Second.
There, photo finished, but the judges say, Dave. Okay, first and second, any further discussion? No, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
There are some informational items included in your packets. We do, we don't talk about the,
One thing I wanted to point out was the fire department strategic plan update,
Mhm.
was in there, and that was, so the Clear Plans went live with their platform on August 1st, and so I was able to merge it into the document
Mhm.
and, present it. I haven't created the dynamic version that will go online yet.
I saw some of it.
Yeah, and so I updated it with some of the things that Rob had already put it in an Excel spreadsheet that we were sharing. He also has access then to do updates as well, and so he was able to get in there yesterday, wasn't able to do some things, but we'll be moving forward with trying to use that as a communication tool on the progress of things. And then we want to have a joint meeting between council and the fire district in September. And so the question was whether we wanted to have a separate meeting or at our workshop, second workshop that month. So
what was on the agenda for the workshop?
I think it was
Or-
finance budget stuff. Yeah,
Seems like a good time.
right.
Mm.
So
Yeah.
Okay.
I heard that.
Do we have any further follow-up that's been done in regards to one of the big takeaways I took out of that whole process was the safety audit?
yeah, and so if you read the in the report, it was kind of lengthy, and I'll try to pull up.
I was
where-
just wondering if there's been any movement that way.
Yeah, and so in the report, there's an update on that, and it talks about how he was getting quotes for the electrical work. Also
Okay.
getting quotes on cleaning up the storage of things, and let's see.
He said he'd already marked off of quite a few things.
Yeah.
Urgent stuff.
So, yeah. Obviously, my typos. Passport name tags, inventory and security safety equipment and supplies. And then repositioning apparatus.
Okay. But I was talking about having is it Labor and Industries
Having
coming
somebody
in?
come in
doing
and
their-
do that.
What's that?
You're talking about the people coming in, the external people coming in and
Yeah, coming in
Doing a
and doing an
safety.
audit. So we've got a complete list of things that we need to be looking at. We can prioritize those.
Gotcha.
Calling
And-
Ellen and I in on purpose.
What's that?
Calling Ellen and I on purpose.
Well, I think that if we know that there are issues down there
Mhm.
And we have a resource that can let us know what things we need to fix down there. And we're not doing that. I think we're setting ourselves up for failure.
That's a good resource.
Isn't that what the consultants were doing?
No. This is, isn't it, was it state industrial? Illinois.
Illinois,
It was, yeah.
They had a.
But
they had an
they
organization
listed it.
line.
Yeah, they talked
It
about it.
was their suggestion that we call that out. So
And I think
Yeah.
the chief was not wanting to do it right now and
Mhm.
wanted to get some things cleaned up first. And my take on it is, let's get the whole list and get it
Mhm.
up and so we know where we're at.
Right.
Because if something does happen and, Robert, you might want to address this if we know. So we've got issues down there and we have a resource to tell us what those issues are and we're not
Mhm.
doing that. Where does that leave us?
It just depends on what the issue ultimately is. So knowledge doesn't necessarily impute liability.
No, it sure helps.
Yeah. It depends on, again, if there's an issue that we can't control or we can't fund or we can't tackle, so just a different dynamic.
Can go both directions.
Well,
but having
Ignorance
a
is not-
list,
Ignorance is not bliss.
No.
right.
and LNI hit would be grounds for a grant.
Mhm,
That'd be,
mhm.
LNI says we have to do this, we can't pay for it. Be great to grant. We'll pay for it.
Okay, I just want to know where we were at with that whole process. That tells me.
yeah, that came up from the district as well, is that, there's involves everyone, and how are we going to make sure that we all know what's getting done, what's been done, what the plan is. So that's come up a couple of times, and that's why Zana has set up this way for Rob to update his progress, and that's what one of the big things were agenda items with that joint fire meeting.
Okay, good.
That's how to discuss that.
Great, thank you.
Ben?
Hasn't been very long since we last met, but still give the updates on the various projects. So, shoreline public access plan, SEPA comment period closes tomorrow. We've got a couple, comments, so far on that. One is supportive and one is informative. Planning Commission will review for potential recommendation of adoption by you all, at your next meeting. The broadband plan, no change to that. They're recommending fiber to the home program and engaging the incumbent broadband providers to apply for those federal funds that are going to be coming to Washington State. Annexation policy, that subcommittee is up and running again. So they had a meeting last week and we'll have another one tomorrow to talk about how the discussion happens when somebody requests annexation. So if you guys remember the last annexation that came before you all, there was a lot of contingencies and a lot of what ifs and big decisions for you to make with that. What's the area? We've got no guidance on how we establish an area. What sort of services are provided? We've got guidance on what services need to be part of annexation. These policies will help narrow that down so that when we're talking to those property owners who want to become part of the city, here's what the city council has said we need to look at. This is what the city council has put in place in advance to help this go smoothly. And I think that though it took a while to get them going, that it'll move quickly to planning commission discussion as a whole and potential recommendations involved. So that's good. Parking.
Any volunteers?
That's I need volunteers. Yeah.
I just wondered if you had any response to your,
We have, yeah, so we're going to be doing the usage analysis. This is a grassroots volunteer community driven effort. And so we're hoping that you all will put your community drive toward this, or at least get volunteers to go out and count cars or know when cars are parked in specific parking spots. That effort is going to happen the last weekend before school starts. The 22nd and 25th, I believe, are those dates. And 2-hour shifts, you'll need to walk about 2 miles within that 2-hour time slot with your clipboard, or your volunteers who you recruit and send our direction for that will need to do that. So really hope that you will get them together. Ultimately, what that's going to be used for is to add it to the data we collected 2 years ago, see how terrible it is during the summertime before school started, and then recommend where the additional on-street parking is needed. So this is a highly constrained corridor. We need to find a way to get more parking in that area. Let's prioritize a project there. And so that subcommittee is going to do that work to prioritize the projects.
Or find a way to make it look like where people want to park. We talked about, some maybe people not wanting to park on First Street right now. Maybe it's lighting, maybe it's whatever that is.
Right, where the reserves are. That subcommittee has a strong ADA advocate, and so their initial efforts there are to identify how many accessible spaces are necessary around town. It's a lot.
And there's not many.
There's not many. We have 3 in on-street accessible parking spaces total downtown. All 3 of those are clustered at Stevenson Landing, 2 on the east side, 1 on the west side. None in the downtown core. The public right-of-way accessibility guidelines tell us that we need to have 30. We have 3. And they base that on total number of marked spaces around a block. Generally, those are in increments of 25. So 1 space for within, if there are 1 to 25 marked spaces around a block, 2 spaces if it's 50 to 75. 75 to 100. Yeah. So,
Community.
3. So when you do that based on our inventory, that's 30 spaces. They've identified 33 potential spaces that we could add downtown should we have the need to do that based on our community.
Is that a recommendation or a mandate?
It's a recommendation that becomes a mandate when projects are specifically done. And it's a recommendation to be a mandate when specific projects are done. So there are some moving pieces with that, but it's not like we are out of compliance with this federal requirement.
So question. So thinking about that and the plaza that we're talking about cooking and everything. And I'm trying to imagine being handicapped. Parking along 2nd Street and trying to get out of my vehicle, log trucks going by and everything. Is it possible to push into the plaza area and make a wider spot in there and make like 3 handicap parking spots in there? So it's kind of offset from the traffic flow.
It is possible. It's not part of the current recommendation.
But you know what I'm talking about.
Absolutely. And the way they do that is the cars are still in the same line.
Correct.
And they cut into the sidewalk. I think it's 5 feet, so that there's this clear zone landing area, and there's a curb ramp to get up onto the sidewalk. And so there are specs about how to do that. This recommendation doesn't involve that. The ADA, the accessible parking spaces that would be closest to serving that would be in front of Walnut Park. And so at that crosswalk, that mid-block crosswalk, being able to quickly get onto the I forget the jargon, but the pedestrian path access way. So
Thank you.
last one is the parks planning process is just kicked off, started in consultant coordination. We're leading that coalition to have a parks plan for the Stevenson urban area. And we're offering those consultant services to the port, the school district, the pool district, and the county for projects that they might have that they want grant eligible from the state recreation and conservation office. So get them in a plan, identify how much it will cost, and now you're eligible for those. So I think that's gonna be a really good process, and it's gonna be done in time for us to apply for state funds for the Plaza project next year.
Nice.
Thank you.
That's
Water, still having issues with Rock Creek intake. We now have a pump that's out, which means there's no redundancy at this intake. Doesn't mean there's no redundancy in our water system. We still have the well, but so the note as we start to work through kind of our bigger water availability strategies. Wastewater, the wastewater treatment plant project continues marching forward. You guys probably saw the article in the paper. So pretty accurate, I suppose. Pump station project bids came in last week. A company called Ajax is the apparent winner, but they're still kind of finalizing that paperwork. Ajax is, I guess, owned by someone who worked at Crestline for a while. There's a bunch of like Crestline ex folks. So you're feeling concerned with that at all?
And on that, we will need a special meeting next week to approve the contract, to award the contract. It's everyone free next Thursday.
But it's fair.
It's fair.
Well, I know, but it'll be a 5-minute meeting.
Right.
Next week,
Next week, yeah. Is there anyone that's not available an evening next week? And we can make it 5:30. Planning commission 6 still, yeah.
My calendar says I have a city council meeting.
Yeah,
Well, I
I
know.
think it's rescheduled.
And it's
Mine does too.
right,
Yeah,
right.
so I.
But,
tonight.
so yeah, we do.
So,
We're all free
well,
Thursday.
no, I just wanted to make sure no one else had anything else going on.
I am not available Tuesday.
My
Not available Tuesday.
and my concern, like earlier than 6 on Thursdays isn't great for me because I'm coming back from town. That's the one day working in town. So
and I'm basically available anytime Thursday.
I don't know the timeframe of the contracts, but thanks. Sorry.
Not at all. Glad we got that out of the way. Nothing new on stormwater, streets, sidewalk replacement RFP is gonna go out ASAP. TIB grant applications are due this week. Nothing new to report in equipment, nothing new to report on parks. Personnel, we have 2 hires in process. Our wastewater treatment plant operator 1 closed last week, 14 applications, 3 interviews. Our utility maintenance worker to replace Bill closes tomorrow, 10-ish applications thus far. Strategic plan for public works, our second meeting is next week. Devin and Carson both got their water treatment plant operator certs. Yay.
good work.
And we got training last week on our new asset management system, CityWorks. So it's online. There's still some work to be done to get it completely stood up, but it's here. Yay.
Anybody else get certs?
I got mine too. Wow. That's all.
Carolyn, thank you for taking care of the dust abatement. Because when I was on my cruise, I got emails and texts about all the dust up in the area up there. And you evidently took care of it because
Oh.
they quit complaining.
Oh, good.
So whatever you did, thank you.
I think they just stopped working.
That's it.
I think they
Oh, it's no
finally
problem.
got
It's just a little thing that I do.
Yeah, I got you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah.
Audit and more audit, is really all I've been in these past couple weeks. And then working on setting things up for the 2024 budget. We reviewed the scope of work for the Park Plaza project, from the consultant, and that will be on the August 24th agenda for council approval. So we'll move that project forward. And then I got a call today, about getting together to discuss the sheriff's contract. So Dave and Paul Would you be available on the 21st?
No.
Yeah.
Was that quick enough for you?
Yep.
You gotta go to work that day?
I'm actually gonna be down in Texas.
Okay. Okay.
He was joking.
I can do it in,
Don't feel like it,
do it
like-
in September.
In September, okay. Do you know when in September?
Something work in the first and the 30th.
Right, well, I wanted to make sure like the first would work. It wasn't just like,
Sorry.
no, I don't.
Yeah,
So from the first, okay,
first couple weeks, if they want to do it in
Okay.
the first couple weeks,
I'll get some dates.
okay.
Paul, do you have anything?
Nothing is jumping out. I have an afternoon doctor's appointment on the 7th.
Okay. And does any time during the day work for both of you?
Pretty much.
Okay. I'll throw out some times and we'll, yeah.
Okay.
That's about it.
Perfect. I would entertain a motion to approve the vouchers.
Motion to approve the vouchers as presented.
Second,
First and second, any discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Anything for the greater good?
Yeah, I've had a couple of people come approach me and complain about the quality of work of the chip seal on Frank John's Road. And I said, didn't the county do that? And I think it was county workers, right? But
Mhm.
it's still, at least part of it's city limits.
Oh, yeah. The part from.
All the way up past my old house.
There was complaints like the gravel on the curb, just a huge mess of gravel everywhere. They can no longer walk their dog it's too rough for the dog to walk on.
The sidewalk there, part of this.
Well, they said there was gravel all over the sidewalk. I said, well, sidewalk, and there's gravel all over it
my driveway's not Apple.
from part of that work.
My driveway's gravel.
Oh, I see. Well,
But your dog didn't complain.
Yeah, I don't have my dog anymore.
Anybody else?
The annexation subcommittee, I'm on that, and I just want to make sure we get what the council is looking for out of that proposal, right? Because when we went in, my thought was when we went in, basically, it was like subjective. We're like, well, we could prove this or not prove this, whatever. Like there needs to be some guardrails. And so we're trying to figure out what that looks like as a subcommittee. So if anybody has thoughts on what like Ben was talking about, what services are, provided if you're annexing or what you have to do, we were talking about if you're, annexing in, like you can't have the septic system, you need to connect to the water or the sewer. Which is
Or a
expensive to-
timeline to connect to the sewer.
Right,
Those
like
kinds
there's,
of things.
yeah. So I just want to make sure that that as the council, we understand what we're looking for, you know what I mean? Because I am the kind of the council representative in that committee, so I want to make sure that I get what, not just I'm looking for, but what we're all trying to get out of that.
Because we had 2 meetings on that. And there were some sticking points. So what services will they be compelled to use? What
Right.
services will we be compelled to provide? What about plowing? What about, what other additional city services? And I like Carolyn's kind of metering stick, what's in it for the city? So just
Right.
because it's convenient for you, why shouldn't there just be enough in the city to make that happen if it's not?
Or, and then we're gonna take, well, I don't want to pay for sewer, to change my life, but I do want to be in city limits and I want to be,
So-
then it's like, okay.
Much as I hate to say it, because there was quite a bit of discussion,
It was.
just the YouTube is, but then I don't know if anybody's encapsulated that. I don't know if the minutes would reflect. There was much discussion.
Right.
Well, and when you think about it, to have somebody annex in, it's really not tax base wise, it's really not advantageous to the city for the amount of taxes we get per year on it.
I like the idea of some customers. That's a good one. And then if it makes sense, it does increase our footprint because we only have so much that we can get to, but not for spite of our own nose.
Right, the idea with it, with that one just didn't, financially made no sense. We were gonna provide the services, there was gonna be no compensation going past other people, just didn't make sense.
Well, there's these
So-
weird, weird breaking points, you know, you get a development like the size of Chinandere where that's built in, the roads and storm and everything is built in, but you get a little one-off, like
Right,
what Mr. Goodman was working on, that
that is,
It
the
would
people
be
around you don't want it.
onerous to say, well, they paid for it.
Right.
Right,
You paid for it.
you know, that's just fine. Okay. If you have thoughts, you guys can send an email and, I mean, you have my email and we're meeting tomorrow.
I would
Again,
recommend
so-
checking out, half a dozen other communities and see what they,
What their annexation guidelines are.
copy and paste on what you like and delete what you don't.
Just a reminder on the emails, use your city email to the extent you have it. Please don't
Of
use your
course.
Gmail or Yahoo or AOL accounts, so you don't have to call through and find them.
Yeah, I had
Just a-
people
just a
contacting me on
reminder.
Facebook and I asked them to contact me.
But just as discussion,
Any city,
somebody's
yeah.
providing you with additional information, so we're not trying to call it out.
Absolutely.
Anybody else? Anything that you would like to see on next month's agenda? New record. You go for coming, waiting adjourned at 6:30.
And we have a meeting on 24th.